Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Voice by Matt show. My name is Matt Bertho, and I have a guy with me today that I met last week on Instagram, Tarik Williams. And Tarik and I had it was supposed to be a 30-minute conversation that turned into an hour, I think. And he's a gentle, beautiful soul that has an incredible mission. And he is a servant of God, helping people. And he's my kind of guy. So welcome to the show, Tarik.
Amen, amen. So happy to be here. I'm looking forward to be a part of the Matt Bertho show. Let's go.
Well, I appreciate you got my name right. That's incredible. I mean, already, like are we even a minute in? And he said my name right. So we could end the podcast now.
All right, I'll see you later.
And it's good, yeah. But yeah, Tarik, I know a lot about you from our conversation, but it's incredible the people that are coming into my life right now that are here for the right reasons, and you are one of them for sure. So tell them a little bit about you. I'd like you to start at the origin, the beginning, mom and dad, mom or dad. Like, I'd like you to take us back there and tell us about little Tarik, and how did Tarik Williams find his voice?
Ooh, okay. Well, you asked a lot of different questions there, but first for the audience, well, one, so happy to be here. Tarik Williams, I'm a problem-solving coach. I give clarity and direction to working professionals to avoid and beat that burnout, whatever it looks like to get to that next level and love the life that you're living. So, wow, back when I was young, so I was born in New Jersey. My mother is from Trinidad and Tobago, and my dad is from New Jersey. So my mom immigrated here from Trinidad, and she really wanted a better life. What in terms of opportunity, progress for her kids, and so I think that she was looking for that American dream, right? Um, we eventually ended up in Pennsylvania, and I would like to say I was a happy kid. It was from my parents, though, more than anything. They both work in serving professions. My mom was a nurse, and my dad was a bus driver. And
Wow.
so, you don't think about the things that there's a lot of different jobs in the world, and we don't often realize that if those jobs weren't happening, what would not happen then for some different people. Like, I had someone tell me the other day, they were in real estate, but they were like, well, Tariq, I'm just looking for something that really fulfills me, and I just want to be a part of something more empowering. And I said, don't you know that when somebody buys their first house, how empowering that is for them? And it really gave him a different perspective to look at that. So
Yeah, I have to say this correctly because I've been corrected on it so many times. Because I
mhm.
did this event in Nashville that I screwed up how to say it. The word is realtor.
Mm,
And so,
okay.
not realtor,
Yeah.
realtor, because I used to say it wrong. But one of the things that I always say is, you need to visualize before you get out of the car, this family or these people that you're showing this house to, what does it feel like to be in that house? What does it look like? The birthday parties, the celebrations,
Yeah.
you know, all of that, cooking, like family gatherings. Um, and so, I love your message, and I can't wait for you to dive into it more about, the problems that we think are problems really are, blessings in disguise.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. I felt it. I was like, I got to say something about realtors.
No, absolutely. You didn't cut me off at all. It, but you're right. I think that so often we believe that, oh, this is the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. And it doesn't have to be. I guess going back to the realtor thing for a moment, if you take a realtor's, like, let's say they sold 30 houses in a year, okay? They probably sold one that would have been, let's say, maybe a few $1 million, and another one, and then another one that was their lowest was like $100,000 for whatever reason that might be. Both of those are outliers, right? So it might not be as bad as you actually think. Like it might not be on one end or the other. It's just probably somewhere more in the middle, and you find a way to problem solve through your different situations. And it starts like with what you were just talking about with that visualization piece.
Yeah.
I think when you are able to visualize what next looks like, or what you actually want to become, or what you want to do, and then you go out there and do it, it's like, oh, I've been here before.
Yep. So, Tariq, let's go back to the childhood for you.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Well, I have a question before
yeah,
we.
please.
Did you learn how to problem solve for people from mom or dad?
That's a great question. And if you don't mind, I think I'm going to go to 16.
Okay, go shoot.
So, so when I was 16, I was playing basketball. I was at a basketball practice for an AAU team. For those who don't know what AAU is, it's kind of like a spring summer
That's the real
basketball
deal.
situation. Yeah. And I was getting ready to, we had a tournament coming up at Rutgers University.
Oh dang.
Um, yeah, I thought I was going to the league. Fun fact, spoiler alert, I didn't end up in the NBA. But we were at a practice, and actually the person that I was guarding, he actually ended up in the NBA for a couple of years. He was on my team. It was at a practice,
Dude, that's
and
legit.
I stole the ball from him, and I'm going up for a layup. And as I go up for this layup, he starts to block my shot, and I get elbowed in my right eye. A day or so later, we recognized that I couldn't really see out of that eye. And then we thought it was because I got elbowed. About 6 months later, my left eye started going bad. And then we realized, oh, what's happening actually might have nothing to do with getting hit in my eye.
What?
So we went to the hospital, and a bunch of different tests, and you do this. I did a bunch of different blood tests, did a brain MRI because they had no idea what was going on, and we later found out that I became blind due to a genetic disorder that we didn't know that I had. So it had nothing to do with getting hit in the eye. It's a genetic disorder called Leber's hereditary optical neuropathy. I have
Whoa.
no, I have no central vision and very blurry peripheral vision.
Wow.
Mhm.
And is this in like your family tree at all?
Not that we know of. Not that we know of. And so nobody knew what to do, what that looked like. I had never met a blind person before. So I thought that the sacrifices that my mom and dad have ever done for me, my brother spending those times with me, I thought they all went in vain because
Man.
I had lost all of my worth because of my blindness.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't quick, but you asked me how I became a problem solver. And part of this journey was because of my blindness. And I had to, at some point, decide that there was more out there for me.
Hmm. So when you initially found out that you were losing your vision, um, what kind of like emotions did you go through, dude?
Whew. Emotions. I felt like a failure. I felt like a failure
Hmm.
because, once again, the sacrifices that my family had ever done for me, I thought that things just weren't possible anymore.
Oh, man.
I was at a time when I was in the process of getting training as a blind person, and we were traveling to a particular situation, to a particular address, and that I'm walking with one of my other friends who's also blind. We're in this program together. I had a gentleman say, "Hey, being blind is the worst thing that could ever happen to you. You might as
Dang.
well,
What?
and you might as well be dead."
What?
That's what he said to us. That is what he said to us. Um, and he was rambling quite a bit, but what I gathered was that he had a friend that became blind. And for whatever reason, that individual probably didn't get the resources or the help that he needed. And he was putting that on us. And in that moment, I decided that nobody else's limits on me, I'm not gonna let that affect me. But it was that was an
Dude, you were
interesting
you were
moment.
16 and somebody said that to you?
I fast forward a little bit. I was probably more like 21, 22 when that one happened.
Still, you're a young man.
Yeah.
What, and was it somebody you knew?
No, just stranger. We asked somebody for directions to get somewhere.
And he
And this
just
rare
decided to say being blind's the worst thing that could happen to you.
that's what he said. That's what he said. But once again, it's perspective, right? He had a bad, I would say, a bad experience with a friend that went blind. People don't know what they don't know, and that includes their potential. Um, because until I met other blind people, and going back to the problem solving mindset piece of all this, I wasn't sure. If he would have found me at 16, it would have been terrible because I would have believed him. But by the time I was 21, 22, I was like, no, there's more out there for me. I've never, when I could see, I never went up to somebody and said, "Hello, my name's Tarik Williams, and I have 20/20 vision." I've never done that before. Nobody's
No,
ever done.
nobody does that.
Nobody does that. So why? Because now that I'm blind, it has to define. Oh, hey, I'm Tariq and I can't see. Why? Why does that? Why would I have to do that now?
That's a good
I'm
point,
I'm
dude.
I'm just like anybody
That's a
else.
really good point. Like, I was just thinking about this. As human beings, every single one of us has something that we could perceive is wrong with us, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it might be my Achilles or my shoulders messed up, or maybe my brain doesn't work as fast as I want it to work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be emotionally, people are going through a lot of depression or sadness, and, it could be anything. It could be, like when I was in seventh grade, I got stabbed in the arm, in my artery, and I about bled
Mm-hmm.
out. Yeah. I remember when I got out of surgery, my bicep was gone. It was just
Wow.
like this little, it was a straight, it was a straight plane.
Yeah.
And
Why did that happen?
well, it's because all the blood from the muscle went out, and the muscle needs blood. I didn't know that, but I could have just sat with it, right? And been like, I guess my bicep isn't going to be strong anymore, right?
Mm.
But we adapt, and you've adapted very well, right? Now, the journey to get to this point, Tariq,
Mm. Mm.
because you're older now.
Yeah.
Talk about your contribution that you've been doing with people that are blind, because I think that that's really cool.
Yeah. So when I was in college, I was like, what can I do in this world to make the most impact? That was the ultimate goal. What can I do to make this world a better place? So at first I thought I was becoming an English teacher. And because I had some great experiences in high school and
You'd
I
be a
loved
good
it.
one. You'd be great.
I appreciate that. So my undergraduate degree is in English, but I worked at a summer program for blind high school students over the summers. And there I recognized the impact that I was having. And I saw that I was trusted in different situations. Actually, there was one student that was at a very dark place and very upset about his situation in terms of becoming blind. And they trusted me to be there with him one on one and not one of the counselors to be
Oh,
able to
wow.
say, yeah, it was, and I was probably 20 at that point when that happened. And so I was like, okay, like maybe this is how I serve the world. This is how I serve the Lord. Like
Mm.
this is my calling here. Now, from there, I got my master's degree in counseling and guidance and certifications in orientation and mobility, as well as rehabilitation teaching for the blind.
Look at
So that's
you.
So that's teaching blind people how to be independent, household, things like that, as well as teaching blind people how to travel. And it's been great. I being able to empower blind people and helping them understand things that I didn't understand and just being that light, that guided
Mm,
force for them.
man, that's beautiful, dude. So you have branched out big time. Um, I know based on the journey that I've been on to get to this point in my life, I had to go through a lot of challenges, struggles. Um, could you highlight some of those for us along the way from 21 to now, like that you really had to overcome that was devastating to you? Because, you know, right now in our world, especially in the United States, there's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of
Mm,
people that are scared, especially about the election. They're like they're freaking out, and it's just a big giant mess. Like it's, I just it's ridiculous. Like that we can't come together, right?
mm,
But the best people of all time, we talked about this on our first call,
mhm,
have had to be thrown through a freaking crazy amount of challenges to become the best version of themselves.
mhm.
So I want to know some highlights because a lot of the people that listen to this show listen to it for inspiration and they want to feel like they're not alone in the pain and the struggle and the journey and the end of our rope. And so I hope that you feel comfortable enough to share with us some real truths that that you had to go through because you understanding that you were blind happened at 16. I'm sure a lot has happened since that moment, right?
So many things have happened, but the answers, in a sense, remain the same. In that love has gotten me through. In terms of the love for my family and friends,
Mm-hmm.
my love for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior,
Mm.
loving all the blessings that have been bestowed upon me. So, as it pertains to my blindness, like I told you before, I had someone tell me that you're better off not even be living because of
That's
your
terrible.
blindness.
Golly.
And at that time, luckily, I was in a stronger place, but I truly, that my 16-year-old self was like, there's nothing out there for me anymore. The
Your identity up to 16 was really I'm a basketball player.
Correct. Exactly. Exactly. But I had one of the big things about my blindness is that I truly learned to not take anything for granted. The reason why I bring up that statement is because we so often probably take so much for granted and we don't even recognize it. And the possibility of something being taken from you that you think you're going to have for the rest of your life,
Mm.
it just it makes you start thinking about your life a little bit different. Um 2024 has been quite a year for me. And it started on January 1st,
Okay. I love that already.
and we're all excited and we're getting ready for our New Year's resolutions, right?
Oh yeah.
We're getting ready and we're excited. Okay,
Le-
every year people are talking about, oh, this is going to be my year. This is going to be my
oh
year.
yeah. Let's go.
Right after Christmas, I want to say it was the 26th to the 27th, I got a phone call. I pick up the phone and it's my sister. And she says to me, "Hey, T, how are you?" She lives in Baltimore. I'm in Arizona. She had been battling an illness, and she told me that doctors told her she only had 2 weeks to live.
What?
And I listened to her, and then, eventually we talked. We got off the phone. I got some more information from other family members, and I got out there as quickly as I could. And I got to spend a couple days with her,
Oh man.
and she passed away on
Man.
January 1st.
Oh my gosh, Tariq.
So it's a tough thing for me to talk about,
I know.
but every year we're saying, okay, 2024, the next year, that's gonna be my year. That's gonna be my year. That's quite a way to start, right? So I think part of what I want to explain in this answer here is that life is definitely gonna, my sister was only 34. So once again, this brings up the piece of life, things that you think are always gonna be there, sometimes might not.
Man.
And I'm still working through that.
Yeah.
And I did not plan on talking about this on the podcast today, but I'm still working through it, but
Hmm.
living a life where I'm still being the brother
Yeah.
that she loved.
Yeah, man.
So as it pertains to my blindness and as it pertains to that situations, and there's several others, but that one's still fresh, especially because we're thinking about what 2025 is going to look like.
Well, and so what comes to my mind is every day, and we're told this growing up, we're told this at church. Literally every day is a gift that we consciously get to be around and talk to people if we want to, play, play a video game, eat some food, smell something, right?
The present is a gift.
And
As cliche as that is.
it is, but it's true. Like everybody that listens to this podcast should wake up on January 1st, 2025, saying and remembering Tariq and remembering this. I got to wake up today.
There is someone out there. The situation, the struggle, the obstacle you're going through right now. 10 out of 10, 100%, there is at least one person out there who would love to be in the situation that you're complaining about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. It's true. We take so much for granted as people. Hey, you're here today. Everybody talks about glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah.
I'm completely against that frame of mind of thinking because, oh, okay, my glass is half full, like that's cool, or my glass is half empty, things are so sad. How about this? You have a glass. You have a glass. You didn't have to. You didn't have to. And so what that means is whether it's glass
Or
half full, glass half empty, I still can pour into it.
or you are the glass.
That's what I'm getting at. Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Um I want to go back to you helping that boy that needed
Mm.
help. Do you remember what the main thing that you helped him with was?
It's interesting that we're talking a lot about life on this episode today because
Yeah,
you're
man.
asking very specific questions that are leading to me to certain stories. Um, that little boy wanted to take his life. He was at a place where he was in a new situation where we were talking about different blindness skills and how to learn things as a blind kid. and he didn't want to hear it, and he felt alone. And I was able to sit with him, make him laugh, enjoy the space that he was in.
Hmm.
And what it comes down to is just being heard. So what I believe I helped him most with was being heard. So often we feel so alone, and sometimes we're the most alone in a crowded room.
Yeah.
But it's because we might feel overlooked. We might feel like people aren't listening to us. So more than anything, I helped him feel heard.
Mm. Yeah, I felt that I had to ask you that question because you kind of went through it quick. And
Yeah.
I was like, well, I bet there's more to this story than just that.
Yeah, and when you're in a space with someone that's so vulnerable
Mm,
and feelings of worthlessness,
mm,
it's important for the ones that are their support to show up. And I said to him, "Hey, you're not alone. I was where you were at.
yep.
I felt like I was less than. I felt like I wasn't good enough. I felt like I didn't deserve more."
Man, thank God you were there for him. Like, and really, it's amazing that those adults put that much trust in you for you to go help him and essentially save his life. Like, you think about that? Like Tariq, if you would have been like, nah, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy for this, man. Like, but you took the call and you walked in and you sat with him and you listened. You used your voice. You heard his voice. And you literally saved his life, bro. Like you did.
You
And
know,
that message is, as humans, we're supposed to live. We're supposed to live. We're supposed to listen to the call like you did. And these amazing adults heard the call also and said, Tariq, you're the guy. You're the person that's supposed to sit with him. Like, imagine if you'd have said no.
you know, it's interesting because that particular story I don't reflect on a ton. Um, the reason being is because you really helped me shine a light on this moment. I talk about it all the time, but I guess I don't sit back and reflect on it a ton because I it's a lifestyle.
Well, I was going to
It's a
say it to you. Tyreek, your normal is our extraordinary. Your normal go and how you show up and how you help, that's to us superhero, extraordinary. And so, of course, I mean, this is my job to help people with, right? To
Mhm,
pull these stories out of you. But what was so normal to you, to us, is one of the best parts of the book.
mhm,
You
mhm.
used, I'm gonna flip it up on you real quick. You ready?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
You used your problem that you had and you got when you were 16, when you had all those feelings and the same feelings that I've had, that you've had, that my grandpa had, that my dad had, depression, suicidal thoughts. You took all that wisdom and all that experience. You heard the call. You heard the call from these adults. You went in with your quote problem intact and you let him know, hey, I made it. I had the same thoughts. You can make it too. Do you know how beautiful that is? And that is why you're doing this work. Because God showed you a little peek, a little movie in that moment with that boy. They said, hey, someday it's not just going to be him. There's going to be millions of people that are going to need that light shined on them. And now you're doing it in a bigger way.
My mom and grandmother always used to say, Tariq, let your light shine.
That's right.
I am me, and it's important for me to be able to live a lifestyle where I'm my authentic self and letting other people lead the same type of life. And that's how I shine my light.
Hmm. All right. I need to ask you some questions.
Let's do it.
Are you ready? You good?
Born ready.
Okay. Tariq, what do you love more than anything in the whole world?
Wow.
I told you, like I want to know how you found your voice. Like these are the questions I have to ask. The
Wow.
the first thing that comes to your head, you already know.
The first thing that came to my mind was love itself.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Unpack that.
Because once again, we live a life where we take so much for granted. I have the ability, having the ability to actually love is wild, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Like actually having that, you know, I'm getting ready to have a son.
Yes, you are. Yes.
He's going to be born probably in about, who knows? It could be tomorrow.
It could be today.
It could be today in the next week or two, right? I have the ability to love him. How could I possibly say I love something more than love itself? I have the ability to love.
Mm.
And I know that's probably not the answer you were expecting. And so we can
No.
go down that list,
No, I love it.
but I have the ability to love. How about we think about that? That we actually have that ability. So love itself.
Hmm.
Because love is what's taken me through.
Man.
Loving what I do, loving my family and friends, loving opportunity, loving life, loving the Lord.
Mm.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he shall direct your path. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 and 6. We're not always going to understand the things that are happening in our lives. Things are going to happen.
Mm.
Just got to stay on the path.
That's right. Next question. What makes Tariq tick? What makes Tariq excited?
Great question. Let me tell you a quick story. When I first got my job at Savvy Services for the Blind in Arizona
Mm.
as a cane travel instructor to blind people, teaching blind people to travel where they want, whenever they want. That
I
was my
love it.
role.
I love it.
One of my coworkers asked me a month or so ago, we were talking about passion. And she asked me, so Tariq, why is O&M your passion? Why is orientation and mobility your passion? And it was a cool night. We had me and a few other people had just seen a basketball game and we were in the parking lot walking back to the vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to her, why is orientation and mobility my passion? It's not. And she was thrown off guard. She was like, "What do you mean O&M is not your passion? You just took this job. That's your role. What do you mean it's not your passion?" And I said to her, "My passion is empowerment.
Oh, man.
It's just how I'm doing it right now.
Yeah. Explain that.
People, when I think about my role and what I'm able to deliver to people, Tariq, you help people. That's so great. Yeah, but when someone needs to learn how to cross the street, anybody can help someone cross the street. But what does it look like to empower someone to cross the street on their own?
Hmm. That's beautiful.
So having the ability to be a part of a growing light someone else, to empower them to once again love their life, love the person who they are, and just being able to understand that wherever you're at, you're allowed to make progress and continue moving forward. So empowerment is such a powerful thing. So I'm not helping anybody. I'm empowering you to be you.
I love it. I love that so much. Like, it's a lot like mine. Mine is watching that light bulb click. We've had a couple of those this call, but when that light bulb clicks when I'm teaching, and you're like, oh, there we go, there we go, we got that tuned up now.
Mm-hmm.
Empowerment. That's great. Okay,
Yes.
I used to only think there was purpose, but we have multiple purposes. What are Tarik's purposes?
Absolutely. I'm going to go back to what we were just talking about because empowerment makes me tick, right?
Yep.
But what I was telling you before that was my passion. What I teach, what my feel like my purpose is in this world is to empower people to not think about finding their passion, but yet putting passion into
Yeah.
what it is you want to do. Because we so often think I need to find my passion, I need to find my passion. But are you actually putting passion into the work? See, finding the thing is great, don't get me wrong, but I think that we don't always understand that it's about putting passion into it. So I help people, I empower people
There we go.
to understand what it looks like to put passion into their lives and actually understand that, hey, whatever it is you're going through right now, there's a way.
Yeah. Okay. Last question. It's the one we are all trying to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Why is Tarik on Earth?
Ooh. Wow. Why is Tariq on Earth? There's a lot of ways I can go with that question.
I want to know
And
the
it,
instinct, the first thing that comes to your head.
because I'm blessed. Because I'm blessed, it's hard to think about that question because, especially when I just told you the situation with my sister, right?
Yeah, man.
So I believe that
Hmm.
I'm blessed. There's no doubt about it. And living a life that my sister continues and to be proud of is very important to me. And so to shine my light, to shine her light, to spread love in this world.
What was her name?
Dakotia.
Dakotia. That's beautiful.
Mhm.
What's it mean?
That's a great question. So it means friend.
Oh.
It's a connection of different things, but Dakotia means friend.
Hmm. What's Tarik
And
mean?
Tariq means star.
Hey!
Tariq means star. Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Hmm. So shining my light and being a place of love
Hmm.
and service
Yes.
is why I'm on this earth.
Man, Tariq, you are an incredible human that has such amazing love and amazing light just seeping out of you, man. And you are a blessing. You know, you're a blessing to everybody around you. And you empower us to do more just by being you, which is why you're doing this work.
Mhm.
What are any closing thoughts that you'd like to leave us with today?
If I may, I want to bring up a little bit of something that I'm working on right now, if you don't mind.
Sure, go ahead.
So, my closing thoughts, and I really appreciate you saying what you just said because it's about empowerment,
Yep.
and I'm in this theme right now where I'm thinking about the fact that everybody's like, "Oh, this year's my year. This year's my year," and I made a lot of growth in 2024,
Yep.
but it didn't have to be that way. I didn't have to live a life where my light shines. Losing my sister on January 1st, 2024, oh, this isn't the year for me.
Jeez.
I could easily have said that. And don't get me wrong, I needed to grieve and I'm still grieving and take time and take a step back. But I want to teach people what it means to truly have a problem solving mindset. We talk so much about growth mindset, what it actually looks like to have a problem solving mindset,
Hmm.
to take the time and step back so you can go a few steps forward, whatever that may look like in your life.
Like
So
zooming out so you can zoom in.
exactly. That's a great way to put it. Because so often, like, problem. What am I going to do? I can't do anything. We can get through this.
Yeah.
We can get through this. Um, the Lord has given us life. The Lord has taken care of us. Without Him, nothing is possible. And so I want to teach people that every year is their year. So I've come out with this new program now where it's how to win in 2025 and creating your problem solving mindset and what it looks like for people to step into their empowerment and be the person they're always supposed to be
That's
because
great.
they're already that person.
Yep. They just don't know it.
They just don't
They
know
need
it.
some encouragement, some empowerment.
Listen, I'm a big believer that people always talk about chasing their dreams, Matt Bertho. They always talk about chasing their dreams. I'm here to tell you that I'm not chasing any dreams, Matt Bertho. I
Well,
actually am completely against chasing your dreams. And you think that I'm crazy right now, but follow me on this journey. I'm completely against chasing your dreams because if you're chasing your dreams, you're implying that your dreams are running away from you.
oh, that's so good, Tarik. That's so good.
My dreams. This is not a game of tag, Matt Bertho. This is not a game of tag. My dreams are not running away from me, so I refuse to chase any dreams. My dreams are just waiting for me to
Mm.
put in the work.
I just thought of this too. How many times have we just had to declare and claim our dream
That's
for it
it.
for it to happen? Right.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Because it's already there.
Whether you believe you can or can't, either way, you're right.
My mom, that's my mom. My mom used to tell me that when I was little.
There you go.
Dang.
The facts are the facts. The facts are the facts.
Tarik, this has been amazing, man. We'll have to do this again for sure. No doubt. How can people get a hold of you?
wearevisionofhope.com. We are vision of hope. At gmail.com is the email address. Yeah, Instagram, we are vision of hope, all those great things. And check me out.
And you're working on speaking, correct?
Yes. So, speaking engagements, been working on those things for sure, putting myself more out there, extending my reach
You
is
got a
what this is all about.
podcast?
Yes, the Speak Your Vision podcast out every Sunday, where we talk about great guests. Eventually, we'll have the great Matt Bertho on,
Hey,
and And we'll have some fun for sure. But Speak Your Vision podcast, your space for everything empowerment.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Well, Tariq, I'm excited for your book to eventually come out.
Yes, sir.
Yep. I'm excited to, watch and see what kind of Opus Clips chops up for us on this podcast because there's going to be some gems. I already know. Um, but, like and subscribe, share this podcast with people. This has been around since 2019 and um, I'm really blessed to have people like you come into my life right now, Tariq, that are very grounded with God and Jesus. And I just want to say thank you for shining your light the way that your family wanted you to and the way that God wants you to.
And I thank you for doing the same. You have an amazing space here, Matt, and you're a blessing.
So are you, brother. So are you. Let's keep shining our light. Let's keep sharing our voice. And we will see you guys next week. Thank you,
Let's
guys.
get it.